with our Egyptian Fulbright scholar, who is the translator from the Arabic into the English together with Marvin Carlson. Come in the middle. And the Noor Theatre. And Lisa, are you?
If you guys want, somebody wants to sit in
Yeah, there's some
the
chairs over here.
two spots up here in front. Someone wants to take them. Those are our seats here. And there's one here.
We have to find Marvin.
Sorry.
So there's one more chair over here, or two. If you want to sit down. Up in front.
Hello.
Well, I'm sure Marvin is on its way. Will be coming in any minute. And I'm sorry about the complications. Maybe we talk about this later on. But let's maybe first focus on the play. Safi, we have you with us here. What we just heard, and again, the first time in over 700 years, is one of the oldest secular texts known to mankind. It's from the 12th or 13th century. Tell us why, what happened? Why 700 years?
Actually, we can say that Ibn Dāniyāl's plays or the trilogy, they have been kept in the closet for a long time because of being, obscene. Yeah, the plays. Yeah, the plays are actually very obscene, and no translator has ever tried to translate these plays, or all translators, they have shied away from translating such obscene plays. Actually, not only the obscenity of the plays, but also the difficulty of the text. The playwright uses classical Arabic, a very difficult argot, which is the argot of the gypsies of Egypt, of old Cairo. And also the archaic words in the plays are not to be found in any dictionary or any lexicon. For that reason, I think that it has been kept for a long time in the closet because it is about buffoonery, sexuality, homosexuality. In the first play, you can see something about sexuality or maybe about, let me say, sex between a man and a woman and marriage and so on. In the second play, we don't have anything. And finally, in the last play, we have something about homosexuality and pederasty between a man and a young boy.
But before we also go to the play, let's maybe focus a bit more on the process of translation. So there's Arab, spoken Arab, there's classical Arab,
yeah.
But then there's also the Arab. This play was written. Maybe tell us a bit more about. Because there are very few people in this world who even would be able to read the Arab.
Yeah, actually, the Arabic text is very difficult for even an Arabic speaker because it is a difficult one, written in archaic language, also written in classical Arabic, mixing the dialect or the accent with the Egyptian dialect or argot. And again, the words are not to be found in any dictionary. We don't have any commentary on the plays. Historical or even social documents about the plays are missing. And even the text has been, distorted. Actually, the text we have translated is not, the complete text. Transcribers have kept, cutting the scenes, obscenity, and so on. And every obscene scene in the play, it has been cut off. For that reason, you can see many irregularities in the text. And also, many words, many sentences have become, out of the context. you might read, a certain passage and say that why is the writer or the playwright has moved to this passage. Now, actually, we would ask the audience or the readers to tolerate these irregularities. They are not part of the translation. They are only part of the original text. We have many difficulties with the text. First of all, obscene scenes have been cut off. Also, we have letters have been left undotted. It means you can see many letters in Arabic that have been left undotted. And how can you guess the meaning of this word? In Arabic, the alphabets have to be dotted to know the meaning of the word. Now, another difficulty.
Dotted means?
It means many words have dots. If you remove a dot from any letter, you will get another word.
Another meaning,
Yeah. Ibn Dāniyāl is also very difficult because he is using what we call double entendre and also triple entendre. It means a word can have many meanings. Okay? It is actually very difficult to see a word having multiple meanings in the text. Difficulties also in the text. Maybe we don't have any stage directions in the modern sense of the dramaturgy. For example, the text doesn't have any stage directions. We have to add editorial stage directions to the text so that it becomes readable. Also, sometimes we have, thanks to the many transcribers who mistakenly cut off many scenes, obscene scenes. They have left the text, completely, sometimes unreadable. For example, you can see many scenes that have been cut. They are out of context, and so on. We have added stage directions to the play so that it becomes readable. And in the book, you can see them between square brackets, and they are different from the stage directions of the playwright, which are also introduced in the text through only the presenter of the shadow play.
Well, we can only imagine what those scenes must have looked like, that even they felt they shouldn't be in this play. So this gives us an insight into, there were street performances, there were shadow plays on the streets of Cairo, so those texts were then written down, handed from performer to performer. How was it discovered? How was that? How did what happen?
Actually, it was discovered by a German orientalist, and his name was Georg Jacob. And later on, it was also handed into another German orientalist, Paul Kahle. And finally, the text in
Cairo, they found it in Cairo in the archives.
No, it was not in Cairo. The text was found in many places, maybe in Turkey, maybe in Germany. They have, copies of the text, maybe transcribed in different ways. The difficulties also of translating Ibn Dāniyāl, you can see many allusions to the Holy Quran, the Bible, and also the Torah. Amazingly, how an Egyptian playwright in the medieval period could have such knowledge of the three heavenly Abrahamic scriptures, the Holy Quran, the Bible, and also the Torah. And as a translator, I found a great difficulty in, reading the Bible, the Torah. I have to look deeply in the three heavenly books. I know the Holy Quran because I'm a Muslim, but I have to study the Bible and also the Torah, many verses in them, the New Testament, the Old Testament, allusions to these verses, so that I can translate these texts. Again, in the play, we don't have any scenery. It is very primitive in terms of dramaturgy to have a text that doesn't have any scenery or any scenes. I have, with the help of a Professor Carlson, we have divided every play into scenes. We have the prologue, the scenes, and finally the epilogue. Again, we don't have any cast of characters in the play. Each play doesn't have anything at all. We have created a cast of characters for introducing them in the play. The stage directions are actually mixed with the text. They have to be italicized to be made clear. And also, another difficulty that I faced in the text is also, let me say that the poetic passages are very difficult. How to translate poetry into prose and keeping the rhythm, and keeping the language. Poetic passages in the text are also sometimes mixed with the prose passages. They have to be set out so that they can be understood. This is actually a huge work. It was a difficult project. It took me and the Professor Carlson 2 years to finish. And it is a collaborative work. I'm so very sad that the play has not been live streamed. And I wish, or I wanted to leave the stage before I came here, but Professor Carlson asked me to stay because it is our project. We have been working on it for a long time. For that reason, I stayed.
Yeah. Again, thank you so much. Let's come to the Noor Theatre, and maybe Lamise, tell us a bit. Who are you? What is your work?
Sure. I'm Lamise Jacob. I'm the artistic director of Noor Theatre. This is Maha Shahlawi. She's the executive director. Nancy Vitale, the producing artistic director. And our theater company's mission is to present, develop, and support the work of theater artists of Middle Eastern descent. We were founded a couple years ago, and we are a company in residence at New York Theatre Workshop. And we came to Dr. Carlson to talk to him about Middle Eastern myths, and he sort of sprung this on us and said, "Well, have you heard of these Ibn Dāniyāl plays?" And I said, "No." And and then this dialogue started, and he said, "These insanely obscene secular plays. You want to look at them?" And I said, "Yes, I do want to look at them." And then they invited us to sort of take care of this reading, this sort of artistic reading. So we brought on Lisa Peterson, who was here, but she had to go to direct it. I don't know. You might know her work if any of you saw An Iliad at New York Theatre Workshop. She's a tremendous director, and she really sort of got into the scenes with the actors who, weren't they great? Weren't they wonderful? So good. So, you guys are such a fun house, so thank you so much for being open. We realized at the beginning nobody really gave the context, so I thought, they don't really know how obscene it gets. Well, I'll find out. But it was great that you guys played along, because you don't know how people are going to react, especially sort of within this context and that time, the context of religion and where we are with it now. But anyway, so sorry to go off on that. But yes, that's what we do. So it was really exciting to be able to bring these people together and work with the Segal Center with Safi and Dr. Carlson on this. And I hope it's just the beginning, because it would be really interesting to sort of get this into the world, because I think that we don't associate categorical, obscene works with the Middle East.
Let's do that.
Let's make that connection. Let us get a fatwa against no. So anyway, it's very fascinating.
Yeah, Maha, I know that you have been producing. How many plays have you done so far with the company?
Noor?
Yeah.
Full productions, we've actually only done one. Mm-hmm. We did our first production called Food and Fadwa. That was written by Lamise Ifsak and Jacob Cater, who's in the back there.
At New York Theatre Workshop.
At New York Theatre Workshop, and that was our first full production. And in leading up to that, we've also done some reading series. Mm-hmm. We do a highlight series every year that sort of shines a light on new works by new and existing playwrights. Listening to you say our mission, I was sort of excited to think that we are supporting, developing, and presenting the work of theater artists of Middle Eastern descent, both living and very, very, very dead. Yeah. It's really interesting.
How did it feel to you, the text? Is that something I thought it was a kind of remarkably fresh, and I never knew what happened in the next scene.
Oh, it was so fun. It was so much fun. And when we first read it, we were like, what? Plays are really meant to be heard. So to hear these guys get in there and sort of massage the text and play with it and give it all of this life and interpret it was really exciting for us. But yes, it was sort of shocking.
Yeah, and having fun with there was something about having fun with the footnotes, because you in the audience didn't have the luxury of seeing what these wonderful footnotes were that Safi and Marvin had put in, that they'll be putting in the book. So we had to figure out a way to sort of dramatize and also clarify a lot of what was happening. And Lisa did a really great job to kind of figure out stylistically how to approach that.
Yeah, she approached it sort of from the commedia angle. So this sort of troupe of actors comes on stage and going to present, and I think that's the spirit of it.
Yeah. Commedia dell'arte is a word. One has the idea, like in Commedia dell'arte, there must have been some improvisations.
Yeah, absolutely.
There must have been puppet players who
Sure.
were specialized in the old man,
Music
the young
and this and that.
woman, and the prince, the fallen prince,
Right.
a cast of character that came back. But as a question to Safi, so if I understand right, also they haven't been performed in Egypt or in they would be hard to stage also at the moment anywhere. There.
Let's take them to Syria.
Yes.
I think that they will be very difficult to be staged in any part of the world, maybe except New York.
Let's do that.
You know, the plays are very, very obscene, and they need only daring actors. You are very daring.
Sorry.
You are very daring. Thank you.
Do you think that some artists in Cairo, like who are really for new way of looking at things, would be interested in doing something like this?
No, I don't think that in Cairo they will be staged.
But on their own, underground, in a garage. I don't know.
Where?
Underground, in the Williamsburg of Cairo. No, it's just sort of under the radar, so to speak.
No, I don't think so.
Not enough.
Well, it is. I thought it was remarkable as a comedy man, almost. That it did. Made showed the breast of being alive and being a man, being a woman from that time, of course, with 700 years in between. How we look now at the roles, but still, I thought it was remarkably fresh. And it's a great project, also. Just for the history books, and it's not entered yet, but due to the reading today and this work, which probably will be in the next theater lexica that's going to be written, the dictionary theater, this will be included, and you are here. We have taken up a lot of time, but I'm sure there might also be some questions or some suggestions. Let's put up a little light to the audience, and I'm going to give out numbers. Say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then let's wait for the moment. Those 7, let's start first. And it's you. And we have a microphone, not only so we can hear it better, but we actually do record just the discussion. Yes. So hold it close, please.
Who would have been the audience? Would it have been like in Commedia dell'arte, where it goes across the classes? And did those productions tour internationally?
Is the question for me?
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Actually, the plays have not been performed at all. They were only shadow theater. What I mean by shadow theater, they were only, in Islam, showing figures is actually prohibited.
No, sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt. There's a lot of misinformation. I hate. First of all, congratulations.
Well, let's maybe we come back.
Yeah. I would raise a lot of debate about this issue anyway. Sorry, Frank, but okay, just don't wish there to be some misled information.
Okay, now actually acting. Just a minute. Acting.
In cafes, during the Fatimid time in Egypt, these were shadow plays. Paul Khaled collected these shadow plays. I even have one example of a shadow play. I'm sorry to interrupt, but
it's okay,
please let's be accurate. Paul Khaled translated these plays. This is not the first translation ever. I've read them in English in Paul Khaled's version, an Oxford Cambridge scholar. I'm sorry to say, but what you did today was brilliant, lovely.
Have you read?
Can we be accurate, please?
Excuse me, have you read the translation in English before that?
No, but what I'm trying to say is, Ibn Hanbal, this manuscript by Ibrahim Hamidi exists, right? And then Paul Khaled worked on it, yes? And then Everett Rosen wrote translations and corrections of it. There are existing translations. My collection is in Paris, and there was a guy at the Sorbonne in Paris, who I know, Alfred Mikhail, who went to Cairo, did field research in this Egyptian lady, Dina Amin, who works with us in San Francisco at the Golden Thread Productions. She's written a PhD on Khayal. Khayal means thought, fanciful nature, imagination. Khayal al-Zil means shadow play. What these performances were in the 10th century, in the Fatimid times in Cairo, when Cairo was established by Ismaili Muslim caliphs who were very who were very sectarian, open-minded to all faiths, they performed these court entertainments with shadow puppets. And this is an example of a shadow puppet. This is exactly what they look like. So alligators were images like this. The actor would hold a puppet with a stick and manipulate it. Paul Khaled has a collection of these in London. And I've been trying for years to get together with him and go and see his family, his ancestors who now got the heritage of these puppets. And you manipulate these stick puppets, like a lot of Indonesian theater, and the actor is here, the light shines on the puppet, and the screen is there.
Yeah, no, you know, for sure there's
We know it's a shadow puppet.
Yes.
Yes.
I'm just going to say to you, my dear friend, please.
In this current form and in the translation and looking at all the texts from around the world, I think it's a way that hasn't been published before.
No, it's not true to say that this what you're starting to say about Islam, first of all, was untrue.
I think he meant that they weren't.
Okay, just a minute. Let me finish my idea.
Okay.
Okay, now in Islam,
Let's just be orderly. Let's be orderly.
we know that in Islam, sculpture, painting is actually prohibited. For that reason, acting, just a minute, acting was prohibited.
I am Muslim, and that is true.
Yeah.
Continue.
Yeah, and actually, not even in Islam, also in Christianity, acting as a profession was looked down upon. And the church also prohibited acting, and they saw that acting was a kind of, it is a kind of a humble profession. This is what we can tell about acting and theaters from, the medieval ages, from Islam, from Christianity, and even Judaism. Okay.
Let's stay with Maha. Did you want to?
Yeah, no, I think what I'm hearing is you're actually both saying that these were performed as shadow plays, not as actors.
Shadow puppets.
Yeah.
Yes.
Meaning puppets, not actors on a stage. So there wouldn't be definitely not some.
They were not even puppets. They were only the shadow of the puppet.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. For example, you can see the puppet, and you can see the puppet behind a screen, and it was lit by a candle. So what you can see is only the shadow of the puppet.
Behind the screen, but you didn't have actors treading the board.
Yeah.
So let's go to the next.
But let's so they were most probably are there any records where they performed outside Egypt?
They were performed only in Egypt as shadow plays only.
Who was the audience?
The audience were only noblemen, gentlemen, and the public. It was not open to the public. It was not open to the public. Only sultans, noblemen. That's it.
So let's go down. What was number 2? Was it you?
So there were no women. Even were there women behind these shadow puppets? Were there women actors or actresses at this time? Because that's roughly Shakespeare's time, and there weren't any on his time.
Well,
Really roughly.
it's 1267 here.
Okay, let's do this. Were these Is anything known about performers who did this? Or?
Actually, we don't have any social document or any literary document about whether the plays have been performed and who attended these plays. But we can see that only sultans, noblemen attended these plays. And women were not allowed to act in these plays like, medieval European literature, where women were not allowed to act in any play. So men actually played the role of women.
So which was number 3 was over here, yeah.
I'd like to ask Mr. Mahfouz the effect, the influence of these plays or these shadow plays on later Egyptian theater, like the emergence of the Hakawati, the narrator or the storyteller, the characters, the buffoons like Juha, who then became quite popular. Can you link that somehow to that development?
Yeah, actually, what you can see in these plays is only a parade of a craftsman from medieval Cairo, and this is actually fascinating, where a huge sector of the Egyptian society has been lampooned and also satirized. You can see in the second play, for example, a collection or a parade of the craftsmen from a blacksmith, a carpenter, a quack doctor, an eye doctor, a snake charmer. You can see every profession in Cairo, and it is vividly portrayed in the play. For that reason, I think that it is very important. It is a very important document, not only for the world theater, but also to history, a historian, a linguist, and even to everybody. I think this document will pave the way for, paving the way for new Egyptian or Arab maybe body plays.
You didn't answer the question he asked.
Yeah.
Could you
He
ask
asked
it
you
again?
about its influence on later developments in Egyptian theater.
In older
Yeah, I'm
Egyptian
telling him that maybe new body plays.
No, he's asking about in the past.
Yeah, in the past.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
In the past, you know, like Hakawati became very popular.
Yes, is there a link between traditions? It's hard to know. Right.
You know, you see the buffoonery, but then later on, I'm interested in the link, how it influences.
Is this
No, actually, we don't have a link because it has been kept in the closet for a long time. The influence, you know, has been kept in the closet with the playwright and also the plays. Maybe after the translation, maybe they will be translated into other languages, okay? And also, maybe they will be read by Arab audiences in English. They might have an influence.
What this gentleman is talking about
yeah,
is karaoke theater, isn't it? Karaoke?
No, you can go on. And so your question was about, there have been translations of the play. What?
And there have been performances in
Can you check the microphone?
And in Cairo.
What translation is he
In
talking?
what language, Hafiz?
In
What
Arabic, in French, and in English.
Okay.
Anyway, just all I'm trying to say is the Khayal tradition started in.
The plays have not been translated in any other language except in English by me and Professor Carlson.
Okay,
That's
I've
it.
read these plays.
Can you show me a copy?
Yes, I will dig them up. You can dig them up in the Amazon.com and you'll find it.
This is our book, honey, our book.
No. You read Paul Kahle's translation. All I'm saying, I admire Noor Theatre Company. I love the work of your partners. All I'm trying to say is that you may have done a wonderful job of translation. Let us just be a little humble about our history, please. Okay, I've had what I had to say. The Khayal tradition of puppet theatre definitely grew out of the commedia tradition from Italy, but it is an indigenous form that grew out of Egypt. And then Aragos is what you're referring to, sir. Aragos is what happened in Turkey, where you had this character like Punch and Judy did satiric dramas in Turkey. And those are very famous, like the Karagos theatre, which also led to Mullah Nasiruddin's satire and Rumi. So there is
Well, it's not really clear. There is that Hajivat and Karagos characters from Turkey, but we don't really know.
I've had my turn, Frank.
Yeah.
All I'm saying is there's a lot of rich history here, guys, that we would benefit from really understanding.
Yeah. Well, this is why this is important, even, but it's really hard to say if a Karagos character was influenced on it. No one will really know, but
it's a very vast area of great research.
Yeah, it's one of the first steps.
This is not the first place that's ever been done. Let us be humble, at least. Let us be humble.
We're talking about
this notion everywhere you
Where
go.
do these German scholars
Please stop
find these
interrupting.
manuscripts?
Well, let's go by the pen. These are the translations of the Ibn Dāniyāl plays. Yeah, but there are other puppet plays. That's true. So, who is next in the line?
The three translations of scripts were Ta'af al-Khayal, which we saw tonight, Ajib Bagari, and Al-Mutayam. This is the work that Paul Khale has translated. Anyway.
We go here. Can you take the...
Hi, I have a question for Mr. Mahfouz. This was really fascinating, thank you. I'm interested in understanding a little bit about the historical context. If you could tell us a little bit about what the moral sensibility was like in 13th century Cairo that tolerate such a play. I'm just very curious to have a little better understanding of the historical context.
Yeah, the historical context of the trilogy is actually well founded in history and in any book. We know that Al-Zahir Papers, the first, he launched a campaign against vice, against sins, and this actually appears in the prologue to the play. You can see in the introduction that Taif al-Khayal is talking about Al-Zahir Papers and how the Sultan launched an attack on Satan and his followers. And this happened exactly in 1262. And it is a historical record known to historians in Egypt and also in the world. So the plays have been or can be historicized within a historical context.
It actually came up in rehearsal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That question,
yeah.
where we were wondering the sacred and the profane live very close to one another in this play, within the same paragraph. And we actually, actors had questions as to sometimes, you know, how sincere is the conversion of the prince? Is the prince converting to living a holy life because he knows he has a bit of a sex problem? And, you know, if I get a wife, then I can have my cake and eat it too and still be holy. Or is he actually, by the end of the play, is he having a true, you know, spiritual awakening?
Ibn Dāniyāl was acting more like a fool. He was writing against the court, speaking truth to power. So his satire to the Sultan was exactly like the fool in King Lear, speaking truth to power. So he's mocking.
We get that part. I think the question is more in the end. We sort of made the choice. You know, we took a little bit of a liberty to make a creative choice where they drop.
Yes, that's a lovely choice.
Right.
Because then there was sincerity, and there was a beautiful direct translation of a line from an Arabic prayer, which is Sirat al-Mustaqim, may you guide us upon the right path. So at the end of the day, even this fool at the court of a religious state had to play by the rules.
Right.
Yeah, but let's.
That's the question.
That's the
Was
question.
he playing by the
Sincere, is
rules,
it
or did he
small?
have a conversion? Yes, who knows?
A little bit of
That's
both.
That's a
But
very
let's-
key tension that exists even in Iran today.
Yeah,
Right.
I think that
Yeah,
many
it's a larger
parallels can be. So let's go with the one or two more here.
Is there a question over here?
So one last one, because we are already a bit over time.
Oh, it's just a comment. UNRWA Theatre Company, which was the most exciting theatre company working in Cairo in the 90s, did a series of explorations of these plays around 95, which I remember attending.
So
And
you saw the performances?
Yeah.
Where did they take place?
They had a Ford Foundation funded center in downtown Cairo, and so a lot. I mean, they weren't fully staged, but the idea was that they were working with a lot of storytellers and puppeteers who were out of work, and they basically readapted the plays through the language that they used. So it was an Egyptian Ammiya. And I mean, I think they came to them because they started off with a question of like, is there an Arabic
Secular,
and that's what they were kind of looking for. And I don't know if they were ever performed out of there, but
how was it received, or how was it?
I mean, they had a very small, dedicated following, and so,
exactly. You see, I knew it. Some garage.
I know that they came to the Lincoln Center with a later piece of work, which was influenced by the work that they've done with puppets. But no, that's just.
That's great. It's great to know.
Well, what it shows, there's a vast undiscovered, landscape of Arab theater from the Middle East, and it's the very beginning of a dialogue, and we all have to learn much more and know much more about it. But I thought this was a terrific step, a terrific effort for the translations from the original text. Work of the Noor Theatre and this kind of complex text, and to put them on stage in this form was truly a jewel. So thank you all, and thank you for being here. We're going